Friday again, and as usual, I'll start off with that. But last week I talked a little bit about how the drugs were starting to affect me and the fact that they were starting to work again. Um, this week has been a little bit more the same. It's been hit or miss really with just the amount that it works. I don't know if I've plateaued with how much effect this is going to give me, or if I'm at a level now where I could actually be considered normal, but I don't feel as depressed as I used to, if that makes much sense. Um, but last week I said that I would try to have something to talk about today. Sorry, my dog is trying to drink the entirety of all the water in the world. Um, but I wanted to talk this week about regret because it's one of the probably one of the more damaging aspects of depression when it comes to your sense of self and self-confidence. Um, throughout my struggle with depression, I would always regret various things. Oh, why didn't I see this coming? Why didn't I, stop that? Or why couldn't I have X, Y, or Z? It was one of those things that led to a lot of second guessing of myself, and because of that, I second guessed a lot of other things that probably weren't at the level that I thought they were at the time. I let a lot of regret color my decisions. I actually broke up with a girl because one of the conversations her and I had was like one that I had had with an ex. So I ended that relationship because, I thought because of my past regrets, I could see this one coming, and that I should try to end things as quickly as possible. Probably not the smartest move, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about regret, is because regret changes everything you do. It makes you less sure of yourself. It makes you more prone to wallow in your misery because you feel like, because you regret all the bad things that have happened, that nothing good is going to happen. That no matter what you do, you're still going to have that regret holding on to you. Um, and I mean, personally, I've been through my fair share of regrets. I've trusted people that I shouldn't trust. I huh, I I've trusted a lot of people that I shouldn't trust, and when it comes right down to it, the fact that I trusted these people isn't a source of regret for me anymore, because I started looking at things from a different direction, rather than saying, what should I have done? What could I have done? How could I have changed this back in the past? I start looking at my present and my future, and looking at the what regret would have changed them if I hadn't gone through the things I went through at the time I went through them. If I hadn't struggled the way I had, I wouldn't be where I am now. That means I wouldn't have my wife, I wouldn't have my daughter. My life would be a lot different. And that's one of the things that helped me let go of regret, is the fact that if I'd changed one thing in my past, who knows where I'd be right now, or if I would still be. Um, the point is, though, is you can't undo the past. Regretting it is just going to serve to keep you further into your depression. It's gonna shackle you to memories where you feel like you did wrong, and it's gonna make you feel less what's the word I'm looking for? Less confident. You're gonna feel like Like, everything you will do from then on is going to be colored by that past mistake, that regret that you're still holding on to. But you can't know for certain how changing one thing in the past could have affected you now. Um, and I mean, if you don't have good things in your life currently, at least letting go of the regrets from your past can help you move forward. Um, I mentioned I've been in some bad relationships, and had I let those color me, had I let those regrets all pile up on me, I would never get into another relationship again, because you know I'd been hurt so many different ways by so many different people that I feel I would almost be perfectly justified in never trusting another human being as long as I lived. But by letting go of the regrets of all of that, I was able to move forward. And that's the thing, is the more regrets you have, I mean, each one is a little tether holding you back to a memory that happened in the past. And I mean, the more regrets you have, it's the more tethers that just hold you in place. And so, if you want to break free of your depression, it really comes down to cutting all those tethers, releasing all that regret, so that you can move forward with your life. Because I mean, the past is over, pure and simple. And I mean, there could be consequences to the past that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. I mean, I know every day I still struggle with the things from my past. But if you can let go of all the regrets you have from that, then it kind of frees you to move forward and get on with various aspects of your life that you might not otherwise be exploring. If you regret a bad relationship and you let that regret keep you from getting into new relationships, you're missing out. And that regret can lead to fear, and that fear can be of being hurt again, or having a bad experience. But if you're constantly afraid of that because of that regret, just maybe that'll be a topic for next week. Maybe we'll talk about the fear depression puts in you. Um, but I mean, regret is this week's topic, and um, when I got together with my wife, somebody in my life that is no longer in my life, compared this relationship with relationships I had had 10 years in the past. And at the time, I was aggravated and I was irritated, and that person is no longer in my life. But at the time, I was sitting there going, that was 10 years ago. Something that happened when you're 10 doesn't change how things happen when you're 20. When you're 30, things that happened when you were 20 aren't the same. And that's really what it comes down to, is a decade is a long time. And if I had kept on to those regrets, if I'd kept on to all that regret, all that self-doubt that forced on me, I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't have my beautiful little girl who's currently napping, wouldn't have my beautiful loving wife. I would still be alone. So when it comes down to it, it's about living for no regrets. You try your best to live every day so that there's nothing at the end of the day that you regret. And if there is something that went wrong or didn't work out right, it's about accepting that, moving on, rather than wallowing or continuing to regret it after it's passed. Because if you can let go of regret, you can move forward. Because standing still is probably the hardest thing to do when you're depressed. or at least the hardest thing to do and still survive depression. I guess that's all for this week.